A generation to generation Cowboys and sports talk. My dad, my partner, my co-host, Cowboy Joe 64.
I am your father.
Just to get the Cowboys 2 good games to hopefully understand that they need to go receiver and go high with this next pick.
Yeah, yeah, that's really what this is gonna be about. All right, you looking live at Father and Son Cowboys and Sports Talks. I'm the host, DJ. I tell you what, aka Jules, and I'm joined with my dad, Cowboy Joe, aka Cowboy Joe 64, and we're live on Friday night, and we're gonna talk about a few things today. So you want to say what's up to the people, and let's just get right into it.
Hey, what's up to the people? This our first New Year's 2026 show.
It is, yeah,
All
it
right,
is
well,
2026. It's probably it's 2026, so this will be our third, really third year doing this. Well, third calendar year. We started at the end of 2024, I believe. Yeah.
yeah.
Man. So so we back with another one. This 2026 is the first one of the year. So, it's a never ending story, never ending cycle with the Cowboys. They never sleep. It's always something going on. And it's pretty much tug of war with the same type of situation that's going on. What I wanted to talk about today was Shan Shariff and Dez Bryant. They didn't really get into a back and forth type of deal on Twitter, but Dez was going off in Dez fashion. Dez was just telling the truth as it, what it was, and Shan Shariff opened up his mouth, doing what he do. Uh, and I like Sean and RJ, but I really love RJ. I can deal with Sean. I can deal with Sean, and I can 50-50 deal with Bobby. Bobby, sometimes I can't deal with Bobby, but sometimes I can. And it's better than when I can't deal with Sean. Sean, he's just not in tune. And he be trying to go with like the he it's like it's like he doesn't have his own brain. He tries to go with whatever they say, whatever the media narrative should be is what he goes with. Like, he went on Twitter, and this is what he said. I'll read what Sean. Well, I'll share my screen to what Sean said, and so let me make sure that I have it pulled up. Yeah. So this is what Sean said. So Sean said, let me make sure that this is pulled up right. Let me see. Here, let me click on this. Okay, yeah. So Sean says, let's see, boom. Okay, so Sean says, why didn't you tell everyone how you tried to play agent only to back out after Jerry acquiesced to your terms? Did you not initiate talks with him only to cry victim so your agent didn't think you acted without him? So
That was a comment for Micah or for Dez?
Micah.
Oh,
So that was a comment to Micah. So Sean is saying, why didn't you tell everyone how you tried to play agent? No, he didn't try to play agent. He played Micah. That's who he played. There is no law saying that you can't talk to the owner of the team. By the way, Jerry initiated those conversations, and it doesn't matter if he did or did not. That really doesn't matter. And so what happens is, so what? What if it went just like Sean said, which it didn't? What if it went like that? So what? What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. So just because you start talking to the owner and y'all go over terms, don't mean that once you get in hot water, you can't pull your trump card and say, hey, well, I don't like the way this is going. Let me talk to my agent. That's just the way the game goes. So what? It's not against the law, not against the rules. It might be like bad business if you want to look at it like that. But I could argue and say that it's good business. If I was negotiating millions and millions and millions of dollars with someone, and I wanted to send out a filler, one of my minions, to go talk to whoever I'm negotiating with, and they decide to talk to him, and then they tell my minion what the plans is, And what the contract is, then my minion said, well, you know what? Let's just wait a minute, because let's just stop right there, because this doesn't sound accurate. I'm gonna call my guy, and I'm gonna let y'all hash it out. That's so what? And excuse me. So this is where Dez came in, and Dez said, "This is where my hate for the Cowboys comes in. By the way, I bleed blue with passion. You media guys are on Jerry's payroll in some form or fashion to be speaking this way. Michael should not have been negotiating with Jerry, even if they agreed to anything. The majority of us athletes are uneducated when it comes to negotiating a contract. You know this. We athletes are ignorant to certain things that are supposed to help us. This machine is built to capitalize off our ignorance. But as soon as we get educated a tad bit, the blackmailing, the S I'm talking about, just wish them well, and that's it. Some of us learn and don't lose ourselves, thankfully. So, you know, and then there was a few more things that was said, but I'll let you go ahead and say whatever it is you want to say.
So I mean, to me, Dez already told a story multiple times about how Jerry tried to negotiate with him one on one, and Dez just kind of put an end to the whole conversation and said, this is my field I play on, you play on your field, so we're not going to even get into that. But Micah didn't do that. Like you said, initially, Jerry and Micah, the conversation started out for another reason, and it just led into that. And so, we've kind of hashed over this. Jerry, the bottom line is with the whole thing is, once Jerry saw the thing kind of going off the rails, everything that people are saying Micah, should have done at that time. That's what Jerry should have done. Jerry should have just said, you know what? I had a conversation with Micah. I thought I was going to get something done. Now this thing is kind of going off the rails. Let's just kind of go back, put everything on the right track, let the guys handle this. And but Jerry chose not to do that. So I don't know.
You know what Jerry said? Jerry said what you said is what Jerry should have said. But what Jerry said is, hey, I played this guy. He fell right into my hands. I played him. And I'm not gonna give up at now.
And he went on national TV saying that basically. Yeah. So the whole thing was handled wrong. But I saw something the other day that I don't even know if you saw this, and I didn't read it. There was some type of clip or a quote where Jerry was saying that he plans to talk to George Pickens, and when I actually just saw the headline, I didn't read it. I thought it was just clickbait.
No, so this is why I give Bobby Belt the credit that I give Bobby Belt, because he went rogue. He will go rogue sometimes, and sometimes he will just be Bobby, and sometimes he said, Jerry, flat out, George Pickens has the same agent that Micah did. I mean that Micah does. David Mulligetta. Are you going to talk to David Mulligetta, or are you going to talk to George Pickens?
He asked Jerry that,
just like that.
And what did Jerry say?
Jerry said, yeah, I'm probably gonna talk to both. That's what he said. He said, yeah, I'm gonna talk to him. I'm probably gonna talk to both. I hope I talk to both. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna talk to both of them.
Something I want to do, we can do this year. It's kind of a point counterpoint. You remember how you used to have? I used to say, I always say, decoding Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like whatever it is.
Yeah, decoding Jerry.
My thing with Jerry is
translating Jerry.
I'm gonna call mine. What do you expect him to say? So when you ask Jerry a question like that, it's a Captain Obvious question, and that's what he gets when he goes on the air with those guys. He gets a Captain Obvious question. So you ask him a question, you already know what his answer is gonna be. So when they ask him about George Pickens, what you said, he said, that's exactly what you expect him to say. So it's like some of these questions don't even need to be asked. Like,
well,
it's just
my thing is I got a little pushback on that, because no, I'll say this is why I say now lately Jerry been saying some stuff, but he been saying the truth but he been BSing a lot. But Steven is 100% BS. But Jerry, I didn't expect him to say that. I didn't expect Bobby to ask him that.
So what do you expect Jerry to say?
Same thing that he said when they was talking about Michael. I don't know his name, and I we don't talk about this, and we don't talk about our business on the thing. I don't expect for him to.
So to me, his answer had a little bit of, I'm just gonna kind of put it out there that I might do it the same way, but at the same time, I kind of know I'm not doing that. That's what I heard.
I believe. You know what I believe? I believe that he gonna talk to David Mulugeta and he gonna be smiling all in their faces and everything, and he gonna be talking to David Mulugeta.
I think so. My version of what's probably going to happen, they're going to get the contract done, but he's not going to be involved with it. He's going to just kind of get bits and pieces of it from Steven and whoever. And he's going to come in and have the final say and all of that. But I think they're going to do it different. They have to. They cannot, if they handle it the same way they handle Micah, they could just say right now, we're not going to sign him.
Well,
there's no way there's no way they let Jerry do that again.
Well, you can't say that. Well, number one, because you can.
And let me add one other thing before I forget. The other thing is that Pickens is not going to talk to him.
Nah, Pickens ain't gonna talk to him.
You think he will?
I don't think he will.
He's not.
He shouldn't.
No, he's gonna do just like CD did. He gonna, CD just left and disappeared, and he came back and his deal was done.
That's what's gonna happen with him.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen with Pickens. Jerry, when he did this thing with Micah, as long as he's the rest of his Cowboy ownership life, he won't be talking to no more players like that again. And I say that from the standpoint that agents are not going to allow their players to talk to him. He may try to, but no, players are not going to talk to him. It's not happening. And if they do, they'll just do what Dez did. They'll just say, hey, Mr. Jones, glad to talk to you, whatever the case may be, but yeah, we're going to just let you talk to my agent here. That's kind of what's going to happen. So no, but 105.3, they kind of in a pickle because they have them on. Now, let me say this. We're going to talk about Steven's quotes from today. I didn't see the interview, but did you hear it?
I didn't. So let's check it out real quick. I'm going to share this real quick. And then so I'll let you hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
Fans, he has become a big fan favorite. You see a lot of 3 jerseys.
That's why we made the trades we made.
Jerry, George Pickens, he's on the mind of several hopeful Cowboys fans. He has become a big fan favorite. You see a lot of 3 jerseys out there in the stands at AT&T Stadium. He is, of course, represented by David Mulugeta, just like Micah Parsons was. Do you guys anticipate negotiating with David or directly with George this offseason?
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Probably both. But I certainly intend to be speaking with George, and I always do.
Jerry, I wanted to.
Did you hear what he said?
I heard what he said, but he's not saying anything. It's a Captain Obvious answer.
Well, that's what he said.
They should know this by now.
Maybe, let's see.
No. That's Jerry. Translating Jerry, as you say. My translation, he's just kind of doing a Captain Obvious answer. It's kind of like what you're expecting to say. Now, and I'm going to tell you this right here. They're going to talk to him Sunday after the game. And you know what he's going to say about Eberflus? He's going to talk about how great his resume is. He's an outstanding coach. He's just outstanding. And, he's going to say all of that Sunday after the game. Mm-hmm. You could just insert. He said the same thing about Jason Garrett, Wade Phillips. Doesn't he say the same thing that he does every year? And then Tuesday or Wednesday, they're gonna try to drag it out for media purposes, like you guys say. Then you're just gonna see Tuesday or Wednesday that they're not bringing him back. That's what's gonna happen. But he's an outstanding coach.
Yeah, so I was going to say this about George Pickens. Now, George Pickens, they can tag him and get and they can do the non-exclusive tag. If they non-exclusive tag him, that means that they either get the chance to match the deal, and if they don't match the deal, then they get 2 first-round picks from the other team.
Now, what I also heard, this was on Boss Cowboy Sports Show. Shout out to Boss. He said that if they tag him, that a tag amount counts against the cap. I had never heard that. So
that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing with the tag. That's the whole thing. It's immediate. That's the whole thing. If you get tagged, that's an immediate cap hit. That's why they don't want to tag players. So if you tag a player and they play on the tag, they get that immediately. They get that, like, for
So
instance,
why would they tag him if that happens?
they tag him so that no other team could have the rights so that no other team can have the rights to negotiate with him. Well, to
So
sign with him.
it's for so many days.
No,
right?
you can no. So this is how it goes. So there's a tag. There's a couple of types of tags. You could tag somebody non-exclusive. I think it's a none. It's none. I just said the word. Whatever it is. You could tag them two ways. You could tag them franchise tag, or you could franchise tag them to where no other team can negotiate with him, and only you can negotiate with him for this year. And he can either play on this tag. Now, if he plays on this tag, he's going to get like $27 million. It's going to come off the cap immediately. And, they get that fully guaranteed $27 million or whatever. Or you can non-exclusively franchise tag him or whatever that is. And that gives him the opportunity to negotiate with other teams, but you can match their offer. So let's just say you non-exclusive franchise tag him. And then Green Bay comes along and says, okay, we want to negotiate with him. He can negotiate with whoever he wants. And then Green Bay says, okay, we're going to give him 5 years, 100. Then the Cowboys can say, okay, well, no, we're going to give him 5 years, 102. And if the Cowboys don't want to give him the 5 years, 102, if they don't want to match it, then they'll say, okay, we don't want to match it, but we want 2 first-round picks from you. And they'll have to give up 2 first-round picks. That's how it goes. So you can tag him.
So I'm still not understanding the benefit of tagging him.
The benefit of tagging him keeps you you get his rights. You retain his rights for a year.
I guess my question is, if you tag him, if it's counting against your cap,
yes,
that doesn't make any sense to me. But
it does because it gives you the opportunity to work out a deal with him. See, but
once you work out the deal, it doesn't hit your cap that way. It's gone.
Right, the tag goes away because he did not sign it.
Yeah.
See, like remember when they tried to tag Tank and Tag? I'm like, I'm not playing on a tag. I'm not.
Well, they tagged Dak 1 year, right?
Yeah, they tagged Dak 1 year. So, like for instance, if they tag you the exclusive way, no other team can negotiate with you.
Yeah.
You're within you're locked in with this team. They have your rights. You can't negotiate with anybody. So that gives them, for instance, you're an unrestricted free agent. So you're supposed to be able to negotiate with whoever you want. But I tag you, and that means you cannot do that.
I'll follow you. So what do you think is going to happen?
He's going to get signed.
But is he gonna get it signed, just straight up signed, or are they gonna go through this whole tagging and all of that?
Yeah, I think they're gonna tag him, and then he's gonna get signed. I think they're gonna tag him, and then because you can it's a win-win for the Cowboys, because if you tag him non-exclusively or whatever, then that means that he can negotiate with whoever he wants. So you're gonna see what other teams are willing to pay him. You can pay him if you want to. You can match them if you want to. And if you don't want to, you'll get 2 first-round picks. So I can easily see a situation to where they tag him. He wants, another team another receiver-hungry team is willing to pay him 40. The Cowboys don't want to match that. And then the Cowboys get 2 first-round picks.
I'm already getting tired head on the George Pickens thing. Just get him signed. I say this right here: if they don't sign Pickens, they should sell the team. Hey, pull up the comments I just sent you from Stephen Jones today. That is like crazy. Maybe you can find an audio what he's saying. So when you read, I just texted to you. I think.
Yeah, I ain't got it. Maybe
so when you see these comments from Stephen Jones, you would just be like,
he's crazy.
I would be stunned if they go with if they return Eberflus.
Remember what I told you
on these comments?
I got it right here. Now remember what I got it. Now remember what I told you also We got to have the zone versus man conversation. And then also what I was telling you too is that
Yeah, I don't want to get into that. That's a chicken and egg. But I hear you. But what? But
um
when you look at Stephen Jones' comments,
mhm,
it really doesn't matter on the zone man to man. He's just looking for the type of coach, and the type of coach they're looking for
mhm.
is it's just, again, it's puzzling just how they just came in the office one day overnight and just said, "Hey, we hiring Matt Eberflus. We're not even talking to anybody else. We're not doing anything." Because when you look at what happened this year and you look at what Steven is saying,
Mhm.
he doesn't fit any of this. The criteria that you have for a coach, a defensive coordinator, it's just a things you look for in a job interview, and he doesn't fit any of them. That's why the hire was just bad from the start.
Well, see, the thing about that is with the Cowboys, I mean, what they're gonna have to do.
Can you pull the comments up?
Yeah, I'm working on it now. What they're gonna have to do is they're gonna like it. It's not really like it's not a secret that they paid this guy. I mean, it's not a secret that they hired him because he wasn't because they could pay him a little bit of money, and that money that they have to pay these coaches comes right out of their pocket. That's not a secret. We know that.
Yeah.
That's what happened. I mean, it's not even really
It was the money, and it was convenient.
Happy New Year, Hoodie Kush. What's up?
Happy New
And
Year,
then
Hoodie.
happy New Year, JVB boy. Glad to see y'all in the building.
So let me just say this about the hire real quick. Okay. So the thing about Steven and Jerry is when you're running a company, when you make a mistake, you're not going to repeat that mistake over and over and over. But that's what they do. So they did this when they hired Jason Garrett and Wade Phillips, and it did not work. And just ask Patrick Creighton. Okay. They did the same thing when they hired McCarthy with Kellen. It didn't work. And so they did the same thing again with Shadi and Eberflus. And so they can't do it a fourth time. They can't do it a fifth time. They should be done with that whole process of you hire a head coach, and then you're telling the head coach who his coordinator is going to be. I mean, it
the only reason why they're doing that is because of the money. And like I said, in order for us to win any kind of in the near future, what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to forget about the money part. They're going to have to just say they're going to have to forget about that. They're going to have to forget, like for instance, if they wanted someone like
Brian Flores.
Brian Flores, you're going to have to pay him.
Well, not only are you going to have to pay him, you may have to give Shadi a raise just to keep Shadi above him.
That's simply it. You're just going to have to pay money to do that. Like
even when there is no salary cap on coaches.
Even when get an actual coach worth the $20 million, you will see exactly. That's exactly what we've been saying. Like that's exactly what I've been saying. Like,
and I don't think they're going to do it.
Me neither. Like, so
let's look at Stephen Jones' comments.
That's exactly what happened. You get what you pay for.
Look at what he's saying.
He says, okay, let me read this. Cowboys EVP Stephen Jones, we got to get an identity on the defense side of the football, on the defensive side of the football. I don't think we ever established what we were as a defense. We really weren't a team that created turnovers. We didn't get the ball. We gave up a lot of explosive plays. At times, it felt like we were stopping the run, but we just got a lot of work to do on that side of the ball. I think everybody knows that. We'll go all in. Oh, Jesus.
Look at that next one.
Asked about the 2026 defensive coordinator needing to be established. And the bottom line, we need an identity on the defensive side of the ball. I don't think we established that this year, whether it's Coach Matt Eberflus or whoever it is. We have to create an identity. Man, I think everybody would say that Coach Brian Schottenheimer has a ton of energy. He's very authentic and has an identity. We've got to play to that in all three phases. I think we did in one phase, offense, this year. I don't know what we established in the other two phases, defense and special team.
So what he's saying right there is we have a problem with our defensive side of the ball and our special teams. That's true. Your special teams and your defense, they didn't have an identity. And so I mentioned this on one of our earlier shows. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. See, Hoodie, so Jerry won't do it. Stephen will. Here's the thing. That's what we want to believe as Cowboy fans.
Who's in charge now? I agree with Hoodie. A couple of years ago, I thought Jerry was kind of, getting phased out and Steven was running things, but Jerry came back in a major way. So do they do the reverse this offseason? Does Steven take back over. But what I was gonna say, no, go ahead.
Stephen will, I don't think so. That's what. Well, I'll say like this. That's what we want to believe because we have no choice but to believe that.
I don't believe
because,
Steven would have traded Micah if he had the final say.
well, he did. He was right there. And then on top of that, I mean, like if you know, if you have any shred of thought in your mind that that trade of Micah Parsons would destroy your team, you wouldn't do it. If you're smart, if you have any IQ, if you have any kind of common sense at all.
This may be a case where Jerry just told them, "This is what I'm doing with my team." He's done it a couple of times.
Okay. Well, in the situation, if me and you run a business and you tell me this is what I'm doing with my business, and I'm just gonna just flat out say, okay, well we're gonna lose because of that, and so that's just what it is.
And that may be what we don't know. I don't know if Stevens, we don't know what Stevens said, but let's do this. So I said this on a few shows back that we did, and you probably know more about this. You the X's and O's guy, you the stats guy. Okay, so just think about this. So just think Robert Saleh, just think Steve Spagnuolo. You got Jim Schwartz, you got Todd Bowles. Here's my thing. Let's start with this. Let's start with Dan Quinn and Mike Zimmer. You pretty much know what their schemes were, right? Everybody that we had on our team fit Dan Quinn's scheme. They fit Zim's scheme. So Quentin Williams, he would fit both. Do you agree?
Yeah.
So you saw Eric Kendricks play linebacker. You saw Overshawn ball out with both defenses. Okay, now for Dan Quinn, Overshawn got hurt kind of early, but you could see where it was going. Leofow with Mike Zimmer's defense, he was playing well, right?
Yeah.
With Mike
Zimmer, he was budding at the end of the year.
Yeah, he was coming along. Now, would you agree that Trayvon and Bland could play in either scheme?
Yeah, most definitely.
Because that's where they got their identity as cover corners. They both were all-pro corners under Zim and Dan Quinn. Yeah. So where I'm going with this is the identity. They need to just pick a scheme, one of those schemes that works, and you just say to yourself, as an organization, this is our defensive scheme, and then you get a coach that can coach that. Brian Flores can do it.
Let me tell you something real quick.
Yeah.
See, the identity of this team, and I'm
gonna. What Hoodie said, that's true.
What did he say?
You said we know the second half of the season with Michael when he returned, we were like the number one defense. You know that?
Yeah, for sure.
So, but no, go on with your point.
The identity of this defense was Micah Parsons. That was the identity.
No, I'm just saying, let's look at it this way. So we know Micah is gone. Let's just look at what we're dealing with. Okay, yeah, so what I'm saying is the defense that Micah thrived in, that Quentin Williams can thrive in, that Diggs and Bland can thrive in, just go with that scheme and then just say to yourself, we're going to hire a coach that coaches that scheme.
Hey, what's up, B-Bird?
What's up, B-Bird? We're going to reach out to you by Sunday. So what I'm saying, just this is your defense. And you hire a coach that knows his defense, and you're not changing it. You got your defensive tackles, you know what they are. Your defensive ends, it can be Tank or Micah. Tank and Micah not the same person, right? They different players.
Yeah.
But Tank thrived in the defenses that we're talking about. So what I'm saying is, what I'm talking about here, this is what the Ravens do. This is what the 49ers do. This is what Kansas City do. They know what their scheme is, and they don't change it. So pick a scheme, Steven and Jerry. I can give you a hint. It shouldn't be the Monty Kiffin scheme. That's never worked for you. You haven't won anything with it. So just pick one of the schemes that you have had success with. The scheme, so back in the 90s, the defensive coordinator for the 90s team was Dave Wanstead. It was Butch Davis, and then Dave Campo was the last one to win a Super Bowl in 95. That defense right there is just like Zimmer and Dan Quinn's defense. So just go with that. And then your players that you draft, we're going to talk about the draft coming up a lot. The defense that we need to pick that I'm talking about, you can pretty much just look at the draft board and the players are going to fit. Anthony Hill will fit in any one of those defenses. But let me say this. The last thing I'm going to say is this. If you pick the Monty Kiffin Eberflus scheme, what you're doing, you're Xing out your safeties because the safety in that defense is no big deal. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of Xing out your corners because in that defense, your corners' man skills, they're not going to use it a lot. So just pick a defense where you're not Xing people out and just go with it. Does that make sense?
It does. But what
and just take Micah out of it. Micah, we know the deal. But if you get a player like Micah, he's going to fit in either one of the defenses.
See, here's the deal.
But one last thing, I'm going to let you talk. The safety from Ohio State, what's his name? I watched him the other night. He's like one of the top 5 picks in the draft.
Yeah, I think he like number 1.
In the scheme we're playing now, he wouldn't be a good player because this scheme doesn't ask the safety to do anything. You're just taking him out. So there's no reason for you to draft him.
Yeah. Caleb Downs.
Yeah, so if Eberflus is the coach, I'm not picking Caleb Downs because that defense, the safeties, you're playing with 9 men most of the time.
That's what I was going to say. What I'm going to say is this. The scheme only matters when you have a bad defense. When you have bad players. That's the only time the scheme matters. It doesn't matter who's running what's. I promise you, if Micah was on this team and we had a healthy Bland and a healthy Trayvon Diggs, no one would care about Eberflus's defense. No one would care about it because it would not matter at all because it just wouldn't. It's just
okay,
like
so
last. It's just like last year.
You know, I'm not gonna agree with that.
Right. It's just like last year when Micah was off the field. When Micah was off the field, they were the worst defense in the league. So just imagine if Micah was off the field the entire. If Micah was off the field the entire season, we would be talking about Mike Zimmer just like we're talking about.
So I guess where I disagree with you, you're talking about Micah. Micah is like a generational player. That's going to matter on whatever team he plays. And I'm saying just take Micah out of it.
So when you do that, it doesn't matter who you have. You're going to be a bad defense.
Okay, so it matters who your coach is a lot.
Well, but not if you have them. Because they're just generational talents. It's nothing you can do about it.
I'm giving you a help. Let me put it this way, and then this is gonna make a lot of sense to you. Okay, I'm gonna give you, and I was saying this earlier in the week, and I'm gonna talk about it. Let's just say that Trayvon never had an ACL, he never had microfracture surgery. Okay, let's just say Bland never has a foot injury. The defense that you're playing has the least amount of pass deflected in the entire NFL. You know why that's the case? Because your defensive back. No, it's not Micah related. Just take Micah out of it. Stop Micah. Just take him out.
That's the reason why that's. For
my sake of the argument, take Micah out. We're not talking about Micah. I'm talking about Trayvon Diggs and Bland. If they are 100% healthy and they're on this defense, they're 12 yards off the receiver. Now. If we got a good pass rush, is it going to help? But no, it doesn't. You 12 yards off the field, off the receiver, fam. You're not getting your hands on any balls.
Yeah. Eberflus is bad. We get that.
And then your safeties are just not even issue. Matter of fact, your linebackers are worse.
Mm-hmm. So let's listen to this real quick. Let's listen to this. Let's see. Make sure I put it up.
We've gone almost 18 weeks now watching a team with no pass rush.
Yeah.
None.
Not good.
And, we said, well, we play the run. Well, damn, you can't defend the damn
stop
pass.
It right there.
It's 2026.
Stop it right there. And we're going to move on. He's saying no pass rush. He's not saying no Micah. The defense doesn't have a pass rush.
You got to let this finish. Yeah.
Teams don't care if you want to stop the run. That sounds great to them. Sweet. Yeah. Put 5 guys down there. You can't cover. We're going to hang 40 on you.
You can't. You look at these teams, Green Bay, until Green Bay was able to mask the problems they had in the secondary because of Micah Parsons and their pass rush.
Yeah.
Dallas has got none.
Yeah.
Dallas has got no pass rush. Don't tell me, the guy plays the run really well and he rushes the passer. I don't care. Give me the guy that rushes the passer. I've got 3 cats now that can play the run. I've got guys. I got Clark, Ezra
you go ahead and
Rocco,
stop it.
Williams. I've got guys. Give me a
Jeff was finna say the reason why the cornerbacks can't cover, and then looks like the cornerbacks play bad is because you traded Michael Parsons. That's just that simple.
The reason they can't cover is because they're 12 yards off the receiver.
And you traded Michael Parsons.
That's part of it, but I'm telling you, this defense, and Steven was talking about it on that clip we just showed, this defense, it really doesn't have anything that you can push a button on because it's terrible across the board. It just is. And one last thing I'm going to say, if we go back and look at the All-Pros and the Pro Bowlers from this current season, I don't even know if the Vikings have any, but what they have is they have a good defense and they have a good scheme. I can't even tell you who plays corner for the Vikings because it doesn't matter. They just have a good scheme.
See, now this is what.
So reading that quote, do you think he's going to replace Eberflus or they're going to bring him back? I'm saying no way.
No, you can't bring him back no matter what. It's just like you can't bring him back. I mean,
you don't have Micah. So the next best thing for you to do is to get a good defensive coordinator and get better players. You got to do both. But
what I'm gonna look up now is what were what was Trayvon Diggs and they both was hurt, but what was Bland's rating last year? Because they both had bad ratings last year. They both were at the bottom of the league. Trayvon was like the worst, but he was like the worst corner in the league. You know why? But nobody's looking at.
Yeah, we're not looking at anything after they got hurt. If I'm gonna look at Trayvon Diggs, the year that he had 11 interceptions.
Yeah, but he still had even when he had all that, he still had a bad cornerback rating.
Again,
you know why that didn't matter?
The rating,
it matters. Yeah, it matters. He had a bad cornerback rating. That means he played the position bad. You know why he played the position bad? And he got picks because we had a crazy pass rush. So it masked all of the bad stuff. So like for instance, if you have 100 passes that a quarterback throws, if he's under pressure 65% of those passes or 70% of those passes, if he's under pressure, then 30% that he complete is going to look wonderful for the Cow. It's going to look wonderful for the cornerbacks, even though they're playing bad on all 100 of the plays.
I understand that. So the year that you remember we played New England up there and we won that game, he had a big interception in that game. What year was that? Because he had two like really good years. I mean, without the stats.
2022 and 2023.
Yeah. So that Diggs right there with the Bland that had the pick six year.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing the stats out. I'm just looking at what I can actually see. I'm not looking at all of the ratings and stuff. Those two guys right there, if you put those two guys on this team with Micah, I'm pushing back on you. You know what would have happened if Micah was on this team?
Yeah, we would have had like the number 17 or 18 defense.
I don't think so.
I don't know why you don't.
I think mid-season, Micah,
we would have won the Cardinals game. We would have won the Vikings game. We would have won the Carolina game. We would have won we would have won the first. We would have won the Green Bay game. We would have won the first Eagles game.
I think if Diggs was healthy on this team, Diggs wouldn't be having a good year. I think Micah will probably be doing okay. Bland would be okay.
Micah will probably be in the MVP rating in the MVP race.
I just don't see
Eberflus might have got fired.
Yeah, I think mid-season, Micah and Diggs will be talking about how bad the defense is.
Right, but at the same time, they'll probably still be like 18th. 19th, somewhere up in that area. They'd be in the playoffs for sure. They would have won against the Cardinals. They would have won against Carolina. They would have won the first Eagles game. Jalen Hurts would not have been able to scamper like he did. They would have won against Green Bay because they won against Green Bay. But Micah stopped that because Micah sacked Dak. So if Micah was on our team, we would have beat them fair and square. So we'd be in the playoffs right now. That's probably what would have happened.
Hey, and one thing I was gonna say about Green Bay defense, I don't really think they're that great with or without Micah.
Well, I agree. But one thing that they do when you have Micah, you have Micah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
hey, anything goes at that point. If you have him on the field, anything goes.
So I'm just like stuck on the position that Micah Diggs. It doesn't matter. He could have Dick Buckers. I just think this coordinator and this defense is not good.
And this guy's brain and the quarterback's brain, I don't care who this quarterback is. When Micah's on the field, the quarterback is just like, this play might not work because of that guy right there.
You got a chance with Micah on the field, and your receiver has 12 yards of space in between you and the defender.
How many games have we played when we just said Micah needs to get a sack right now, and Micah got the sack right then? When we played Carolina, that ball would have never made it to that guy. When
Okay,
Bland
so
was out.
what I'm saying is, here we looking at 2026. We don't have Micah. You need to do two things. You need to change the coordinator, and then you need to get better players. I think we agree on that.
Yeah, you have to.
Right now, you don't really have a lot to work with.
You don't have nothing. Well, like I said last night, it would take smart football guys to pull this off, and we don't have any. Now, and you could pull it off.
So Brian Flores, his resume. I just kind of looked at it today. I was telling you before the show. Yeah. He was with the New England Patriots for 10 years. That kind of didn't cross my radar. So he has 4 rings. He's got four
So
rings.
Think about it like this. This is what they got to do in order to win a championship or get close. This is what they got to do. They got to sign Pickett. Oh, yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. We're talking about Micah, but Jadeveon Clowney and James Houston are bright spots. Quentin Williams and Kenny Clark are dogs, but out of nowhere, everybody on this defense got bad at the same time.
We're on the same page, yeah.
Everybody got bad because the player that you had that was making everybody better got traded. So that's why everybody got bad, because everybody's true self was revealed. So the thing about it is, we talking about Jadeveon Clowney was the bright spot on this team. He wasn't even in training camp. That's how bad this defense is. Jadeveon Clowney probably was the best player on the defense, and he's the oldest player on the defense, and he wasn't even in training camp. Neither was Kenny Clark, and neither was Kenny Clark. So the two players that we talking about that are the bright spots on this team, James Houston, Kenny Clark, Jadeveon Clowney. So none of them was even here during training camp, and none of them was even here. So
one of the things that Jerry and Steven need to do when they do this coach, defensive coordinator hiring, I think one of the things that plagued this defense too was the players. They just were not geeked to play, and they didn't really want to. This coach, they just didn't really. My green screen went out. So this coach, they just didn't really have the motivation to play. He's not a coach that's well liked. So one of the things that Jerry and Steven have to do is they got to look at, okay, whoever we're going to hire, we put this coach in front of the team meeting, and he's teaching the scheme or whatever. The players got to have immediate buy-in, and so the candidates that we're looking at, I think they all have that.
You got Trey Lance up saying that he ain't playing this dude's game.
Well, yeah, because he don't want to play for him.
That's what he said. He said, I'm not playing this dude's game.
But the players in Chicago said the same thing. The players in Chicago, they did not want to play for him. And so that transferred here. So all of the candidates that we kind of looking at, that we talking about Brian Flores, when he walks into the room, it won't be anybody asleep in the meeting not paying attention, because they're going to be like, we playing attack football. This guy, he attacks you from every area of the field. And you know who he got that from? That's vintage Belichick. Back in the day, you just couldn't prepare for him because you would say, okay, he going to run a 4-3. Well, when the game started, guess what? He in a 3-4.
Yeah, we got to be
in the third quarter, he doing something totally that's what Brian Flores is doing.
That's just how that's what
so Dak, you and I were in agreement with Dak was like he had just mastered the game. You really couldn't do anything. When they played the Vikings, Dak was just didn't know what to do.
And the Broncos.
Under Vic Fangio and
I'm talking about this year.
With Van Joseph.
Yeah, when we played the Broncos, they was shutting our offense down.
And then you remember Vic Fangio did it a few years back when he came in with Denver. Oh,
That the red, white, and blue game. But
yeah,
see, Dak figured that out
yeah.
the year because ever since that game he beat Vic Fangio every time.
And he will figure out Brian Flores as well. But what you got to understand is most of the teams don't have Dak. They don't have a quarterback like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
And just
but
imagine
yeah,
how better Dak would be if he had Brian Flores on his team. Just imagine
yeah.
how good he would be if that's the defense that he had to go up against at practice.
And to a certain degree, Todd Bowles kind of plays the same scheme. But my thing with Todd Bowles, Jim Schwartz from Cleveland, to
Atlanta.
me, Jim Schwartz is with Cleveland.
No, I'm talking about Atlanta coach.
Raheem Morris, I don't think he's going to get fired. But the OGs, I'm going to talk about this on some of my upcoming shows. I kind of think that window has closed. If you were going to hire Todd Bowles or Jim Schwartz, those guys, you missed on Vic Fangio. They would have been here when Marinelli was here. So I think the window might have closed on them. Now, if you tell me I can't hire anybody but Todd Bowles, I would be okay with it. The same with Jim Schwartz. But I think you need to go younger, innovative guys like Flores, Jim Leonard. I think you need to go that way.
It's really so simple. Like, like you just have to go. Like when we playing Madden,
let me restart my thing while you're doing that.
When we playing Madden, we rarely pick I rarely pick like a certain defense. I always go multiple D because you can have different players. These players these days, they're unique. Like they can play all the positions. It's kind of like Micah and like LeBron in basketball. LeBron can play all the positions. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like yeah. So it's just like, they can play all the positions. Like Anthony Hill, he's a good player. He's gonna be a second round pick, third round pick, maybe. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, these players, they can play multiple positions. Like these players, when they get drafted, it'd be like linebacker / safety. It'd be like linebacker / edge because they're that good. Your edge players are running 4-3s and 4-4s. So it's just like you just want to have a multiple defense to where it's just like on that one game, Michael was just like the corner whiffed on the play. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just go out here and cover this corner cover this receiver real quick because the corner just whiffed on the play. He did something he wasn't supposed to do. So I'm gonna go out here. I didn't diagnose the play. I can see what the quarterback is gonna do. I'm gonna just jump out here and play cornerback real quick. He jumped out there, played corner real quick, and deflected the pass. A lot of these players are gonna be able to just play. So you want to have a multiple D. So you want to have a player like you just said. You want to have a defense like Brian Flores, where it's like, yeah, he was just rushing the passer. Now he's in coverage. And now he's covering tight ends. And now he's taking this away. And now he's taking this away. You just want to have players like that. So Overshawn being a dog, Overshawn just had 2 catastrophic knee injuries. We need to get real about this. Overshawn is a dog, but we didn't see that when he came back because I think he came back too early. And then second of all, I don't think that player is coming back. So we need to draft as if that player is not coming back. And then Quentin Williams, yeah, he was an all-pro with the Jets. But to me, he disappeared at the end of the season. He kept on getting migraines. He had concussion. Don't forget, we had teams running the ball all over us at the end of the year when Quentin Williams was there. You know what I mean? So don't forget about that. Kenny Clark, several games where he'll have a couple of great plays, but at the end of the day, it wasn't like you couldn't run on us at all. We have 3 players on the line that can stop the run. That's great. But the rest of the defense is bad. We have bad corners. We have bad safeties. We have bad linebackers. We got bad everything. We got bad edge rushers. The only all-pro players on our defense is those 2. Maybe I'd say we got 1 all-pro, and that's Quentin Williams. Kenny Clark is a Pro Bowler. Osa is almost a Pro Bowler, but Bland. And Bland is he just had season-ending surgery at the end, so we don't know when he gonna come back next year. Then you got Siobhan Revelle, another hurt player that played horrible because he came back too early, but he played bad. Then you got Leofold just disappeared because of how bad the coordinator is. We don't even know. It's like Leofold didn't have a year. We didn't even see him. You know what I'm saying?
Politics got him.
Politics got him, which is horrible. Politics has no place in NFL football. If you're good, you're supposed to play, and you're supposed to be used for what you're good at. So Overshawn was 25% of his old self. He wasn't that guy anymore. We got to be real about that.
So I'm gonna look at your guy Javonte Williams. So
Hey, let me say what I got to say about signing these people. What they got to do. What they got to do is this is what they got to do if they want to win a championship or if they want to get close to winning a championship. In my opinion, this is what they got to do. They got to sign Pickens and Javonte Williams. They got to extend Quentin Williams. They got to extend Kenny Clark. They got to draft linebackers, corners, safeties, and a running back. They got to use free agency to get top talent and push the current players down on the roster. They gotta let Shotty interview as many people as he want to interview for the defensive coordinator, like he did with the offensive side of the ball. Uh, and they have to fill out the defensive roster. That's what they got.
That sound like an expansion team.
That's what they got to do.
But you got to start. You got to start just with the new defensive coordinator. Just pick a scheme. I think Quentin Williams is gonna be fine. I think Overshawn, Javonte, when the Cowboys called Denver about Javonte, Sean Payton didn't give him a glowing report because he was rehabbing his knee. But the player that we saw this year, he was 2 years after his ACL, and I think Overshawn can do the same thing. We seen Michael Irvin do it, so I'm not that concerned about Overshawn. I think he's gonna be fine. Bland. The foot thing is always tricky, but I would just say this: the guys that are hurt, one of the things the front office got to change with their identity is quit forcing these players onto the field when they're not healthy. They've done that; it hasn't worked, so they should just stop doing it.
This is a front office thing. All of these reasons, everything that we're talking about is front office things. These guys are getting us. The front office is a reason why we're 31 years. It's the front office, man. Any other front office team, any other front office would have won a championship in the last 10 years. We're the only NFC team since 2010 that haven't made it to the NFC championship. That should be said to the Joneses. That should be question 1 through 10 in every press conference. They should just say, hey, you guys haven't made it to the champion. You guys haven't played in the championship in 30 years. What do you have to say about that? Then the next question should be, hey, you guys are the only NFC team that hasn't made it to an NFC championship game since 2010. What do you have to say about that? Then the next person should say, hey, you guys are still doing the same thing you did 15, 20 years ago, and you haven't made it to the NFC championship game in 30 years. What are you going to change? And then the next person should say, did y'all know that y'all are the only team that hasn't made it to the NFC championship game in 10? Did y'all know that? And then it should just go like that to where Jerry and Steven should just get up and walk out.
Well, we all know how that's gonna go, but yeah, they could really ask the same question, but just word it differently so they can keep their little radio slide and that type of thing. But these guys, man, they're not doing that. So me myself, a lot of fans don't even want to hear what they have to say. I'm not interested at all in what Jerry has to say, and I'm partly interested in what Steven has to say. Like what he did today, that was a real down to earth answer that he gave. But at some point you just start tuning people out because they just haven't gotten it done. And so the salary cap thing with the salary cap, the coaches don't have a salary cap. So we do have some history, by the way, where we can show they paid coaches. When they paid Jason Garrett as an offensive coordinator, he's one of the highest paid in the league. And Dan Quinn, I believe, was one of the highest paid. So they've done it recently. So whoever they hire,
what you pay for.
Whoever they hire, they're gonna have to pay them, and then they're gonna probably have to do something with Shotty, off to the side. So those are the guys that we're looking at. It's like Jim Leonard, Todd Bowles, Jim Schwartz, but a couple of these guys, if they stay with their team, then. But Brian Flores, to me, man, that'll be like a game changer if they were to look at him and then pay him, and then I think he just comes in. He's able to give your defense an identity. Your identity defensively is going to be Brian Flores. That's it. And the players, they're going to know that. And the same thing would happen with Todd Bowles. If Todd Bowles was hired here, he walked into the defensive room. It's going to change the room. I remember Terrence Newman. He was like Todd Bowles was the best coach he ever played for. He was at that time was the defensive back coach when he was here. And the players really liked him. But yeah, those are your options. I think they can take their time. They're not going to be able to interview Jim Leonard till the playoffs is over. And I think Denver, I believe they're going to go to the Super Bowl. That's my AFC pick. You know, New England is kind of lurking out there. Now, New England, they doing some New England things. They coming in with no name players. They just smoking people. You know, I don't even know who they got on their team. I know they got Stephon Diggs. He's just smoking people too. We should have got Stephon Diggs. I think Stephon Diggs is like, man, he got to be like up there as far as your numbers. But when I just watched the game, he just smoking people left and right. It's not even. Nobody can cover him. He playing in the cold. It's like it doesn't matter.
Be a dog.
That's the kind of coach you got, though. See, New England, they was like, we don't really care about what you got going on. We just need you to come in here and make plays, fam. And this thing he had that came up last week, they immediately put out a statement like, we getting ready to play some games, so we can figure this out later.
Because that's
we already trying to smoke people.
That's what kind of franchise that they have, and that's what it takes to win. You can't be a charity and feel good and all of this kind of stuff. You can't do that. You gotta. That's what I like about Shotty. And Shotty was just like, yo, we don't really care about what Trayvon got going on. I told him he couldn't go. He went, and he got waived. Next question.
I got a question for you on Shotty. This is gonna be one of our upcoming shows. So I'm gonna ask you this. So is he your McVay, Kyle Shanahan? Let me think of another coordinator. Maybe the coach for the Vikings. So is Shotty one of those guys, or is Shotty the second coming of the right kind of guy, Jason Garrett? So what do you think?
He's one of them he's one of the McVay guys and all of that, and he's one of the McVay guys, but he just has the right kind of guys on the team. But he is a McVay guy. He is an innovator. I mean, you got to say it. I mean, you know,
this right kind of guy thing, it's not going to work.
Look at it like this. He not like that. Look at everything that happened this year with the right kind of guy situation. They kept on trying to say George Pickens was doing stuff. They kept on trying to say CD was doing stuff. They kept on trying to say Malik Davis ain't had an attitude about being at practice. They kept on trying to do Jaden Blue and his shoes and all this kind of stuff. And Shotty just was just like, hey man, it is what it is. You know, they set out the first they set out the first series. Whoop-de-doo. You know what I mean? Game goes on. You know, George came in late. That's what it is. George came in late. We had a talk, and then that's just it. That's kind of what you got to deal with when you're dealing with him. You know, it's kind of like that.
So I hope you're right. I'm hoping that he is a McVay, Kyle Shanahan type coach, and this right kind of guy thing. I'm just keeping an eye on it because some of the stuff that I'm seeing is like, are you trying to start this RKG stuff up again? So let's keep an eye on this thing. But yeah, I think he is on the McVay side. I watched McVay, last week. He was McVay. Sometimes he just get in the game, man. I don't know what he's a genius, but he kind of get carried away. But he got a ring, so what can you say? And then Kyle Shanahan.
To me, it'd be feeling like he not running something. I'd be feeling like he just kind of be just say like that game the other day. I felt like he was just like delegating most of the work to his assistants. That's what I felt like. I felt like he wasn't really doing those things. I felt like on a couple of plays where they went for it, I felt like he got that advice from somebody else and he just lived with it.
It might be the case
because it wasn't like he was just like totally into it. It was just like, he kind of was just like lackadaisical, like, yeah, we're gonna go for it. Y'all want to go for it? Yeah, let's just go for it. And it's just like, all right. I Right.
And then Kyle Shanahan, he's kind of the same type of guy. They just got good systems. So I'm hoping that Shadi has a good scheme. I think what he did this year, he can improve on that.
He got to improve because it was too many games where it's just like, bro, you cannot tell me that you don't see that these guys can't cover CD and George, and we're getting good blocking. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be blowing this team out. And then there was so many games like the second game against the Eagles, when it's just like, bro, CD is doing this again. Stop throwing it to him. Every time you throw it to George, he gets 30, 40, 10 yards, 15 yards, catching the ball, triple coverage, double coverage. He's doing it. He's catching it. It's just like, stop doing that. Stop throwing it to CD when it's obvious that we throwing it to George, but they still can't stop him. So it's just like that caused us to win the game. George Pickens won us that game, taking us down the field on that other play. Then at that slant at the end of the game, it's just like
Kansas City game too.
Just the Kansas City game. It's just like George Pickens won us that game. So
but CD, still doing CD things. So I think the offense, the arrow is pointing up. So now all you got to do is just get your defensive coordinator.
Man, our offense, man. If we can just add to our offense, like that's how I think. I think like, yo, when you have a team like this, my train of thought is you can do one big thing on offense. Like if you got to use all your draft picks, the first pick, let it be on offense. Get somebody that's just like, wow, I cannot believe they got him. Like it could be a receiver. It could be a receiver. It could be a running back. It could be a tight end. It could be a tackle. It could be somebody that is just like, oh my God, they went and got him. Like this, they got 3 of them. Now they got this CD. Now they got CD, George Pickens, and this other receiver. Or they got Javonte Williams and the guy from Notre Dame. They got him too. And then the rest of the draft and the rest of the offseason, go defense.
Yeah, I can buy into that. I just, they're gonna. I think where they're gonna end up picking, they're gonna have to just pick a defensive player. I don't know if they're gonna like Love from Notre Dame that high. So it really just depends on where they are. And what I'm doing, I'm taking one of my ones and I'm trying to get Max Crosby. I would prefer to give him Green Bay's one. I'm not giving them 2 ones. That's not happening. Because
if I can give up 1 and get Max Crosby, I'm doing it all day. And I think that they are going to do that.
So it just depends on which one you want to give up. The Raiders are going to ask for your number one.
Shotty is trying to win. He ain't, and you can tell this whole year he been biting his tongue, holding back. Like, all right, I'm letting them get this out there. I'm gonna let them get this out their system. But this dude is really pissing me off. What the F are we doing?
We got to look at Minkah Fitzpatrick too. I'm wondering if you get him, is he just a newer version of Malik Hooker? We got Malik Hooker. He wasn't Malik Hooker like back in when he came out of college. So I wonder what Minkah Fitzpatrick is looking like. Is he just kind of kind of old, or is he kind of like what are we getting?
To me, what I'm doing is, and I don't know if it's something that's just not so obvious, like drafting a safety, and you got Wanye, he not playing good, and Bill, and he not playing good. If it's not, and because I think they're gonna bring Malik Hooker back. So my thing is, what I would think was gonna happen is, if it's just not an obvious pick out there or an obvious trade scenario out there, then I think what they're gonna do is, I think they're gonna start the season with like Malik Hooker now, or like Malik Hooker, and then they're gonna be like, all right, now the trade deadline is approaching. Who is out here that's a star safety that we can trade for on the team that has 1 win? And that's how you would get your like how we were looking at Minkah Fitzpatrick this year. I think that there's gonna be the same things. Like let's just see what safety is playing decent or playing good that can change his team. It's just like how the Colts did with Sauce. Like they needed a corner real bad. Let's see what team is doing a fire sale. Let's go get him.
I think whatever you're gonna do this year, they should do everything early. They should do it.
And I think that they will too,
before the draft.
The pressure is on Jerry and them more than ever before. We say that every year, but they getting called out on some of it now, and they responding. Like like Bobby just straight up asked him, "Yo, they got the same agent. Who you gonna talk to?" They 30 years.
Yeah.
This ain't no 30-year drought. This is a 31-year drought. This ain't not a 30.
Yeah.
It's not a 30 with the air quotes. No, it's a drought, bro. And they have to face the music. And it's their fault. It ain't nobody else's fault. This is not it's not the luck of the draw. No, it ain't the luck of the draw. What happens is you're causing your team to lose. It's not other teams are not getting lucky and you're unlucky. No, you're just bad at your job. And you make the wrong decisions year in and year out. That's what you do. You made the wrong decision with Micah. You made the wrong decision with Gallup. You made the wrong decision with Schoolmaker. You made the wrong decision with Mozzie. You made the wrong decision. Every year you make the wrong decision. You make the wrong decision with starting Dak over Romo. You made the wrong decision to keep Jason Garrett for 10 years. You made the wrong decision.
Yeah, I want to piggyback on B-Bird's point. I'm just now saying it. I agree with him. So what I want to do with Dallas, just think Kansas City. So you got Andy Reid, your head coach. He's on one pay level. You got Steve Spagnuolo, who's been a head coach. I'm sure Steve Spagnuolo is making, less than Andy Reid, whatever the case may be. I mean, so that's kind of what we need to set up. What the key point to me is they both need to be good coaches. They both need to be well paid. And that's the formula.
I don't think you was on when I said what I said. If the Cowboys want to win, they got to forget about the whole money thing, the whole payment, the whole
it's not a salary cap on coaches. Yeah,
they got to forget that. They're gonna have to go in their pockets. You're gonna have to buy a win. You're gonna have to buy a championship. You're not gonna be able to do it trying to manage the funds and trying to nickel and dime. Now you're gonna have to go out and you're gonna have to pay these coaches. You have to go out and you have to pay these players. That's what you're gonna have to do. If you want a number one offense, you're gonna have to pay George Pickens like he a number one receiver. If you want a number one offense, you're gonna have to pay Javonte like he's a top running back. You're gonna have if you want a good defense, you're gonna have to pay Brian Flores like he's a top coordinator. You're gonna have to pay him that. If you want a good offensive coach, a good offensive coordinator like Shotty to continue to do his job well, you're gonna have to increase his pay. He needs to get paid like the rest of these coaches. That's what you're gonna get. So it's just like this is not like Walmart. If you can't go and like if you want the real 409, if you want to be real clean, you got to get the real 409. You can't get great value. That's not going to work. If you want to, what I'm saying, you can't do that. Especially not in this game. You got to pay how you weigh. You got to pay up. And if you don't pay up, then that's just what's going to happen. Eberflus didn't get paid, and he coached like that. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's just
and he coached like he knew he had guaranteed money. He coached like he was untouchable.
Yeah.
And even with the thing with what's his name, Logan Wilson, he was just like, "Hey man, I'm running this." And so Jerry and Steven were just like, "Okay, so, but hey, it is what it is. That's what you got. That's what you paid for. You backed yourself into a corner like that. So this time, learn your lesson, and then, like I said, just pick it."
Why does Ben Johnson get paid what he get paid?
He showed it. He proved it. So, but everybody knew how this was going to go, and they didn't even interview him, which is that's
why they didn't. Why they didn't interview him? It's a few reasons. There you go.
So it's really odd to me. So you got to think about all these coaches like Sean Payton. All these coaches left here. Todd Bowles, they left here and did better things. And so you went 30 years. I think Sean Payton is probably finna win, go to another Super Bowl. So how did you go 30 years and you never hired Sean Payton as your head coach?
The money.
How did you go 30 years and you didn't hire Sean McVay?
I'm gonna keep going back to. I gotta reformulate this theory of mine and this opinion of mine. It's just like this, when you have like two bank accounts or three bank accounts. One of them bank accounts you can't touch. It's for the rent. It's for your bills. You can't touch it. It has to stay at a certain amount. Otherwise, you lose everything. So you have to, then you have this account over here. This is where you buy your play. This is when you buy, your stuff, your wants, and everything else that you got going on. And then you have another account that you got put up for a rainy day or whatever. Well, the Cowboys, the organization, and the Cowboys franchise is the main bank account. It's the main one. It's the one that they pay the rent with. It's the one that where their net worth is. 10 billion is there. It's all assets. It's all stadiums. It's all infrastructure. It's there. That's where it's at. So it's all marketing, jerseys, sales, infrastructure, facilities, equipment. That's where the money at. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to coaches and stuff like that and paying these players, when you have to pay a coach $20 million and you have to pay these players, $50 million signing bonus and that account is going lower than they can afford for it to go. Like it's like, like let's just say if it's $1 billion in this account. Well, when they pay all of this money, it goes to 975 million, which they can't afford. They don't want that to happen. They want this account to stay at $1 billion. So that way they have to be like, okay, we gotta get Eberflus and make it work. Because if we get Eberflus and make it work, the money will stay at $1 billion. If we get this player, Osa, even though he's not a top player, if we can spice up his contract a little bit and give him some guaranteed money this year and make it seem like his contract is 120 million, but his guaranteed is only like 40, and we give him like 10 signing bonus because he ain't never had nothing. He ain't gonna never get this much money ever again in his life. He gonna take a hometown discount. That put our money at 992 million instead of it being like 975. Like, we gotta pay George Pickens, that's gonna bring it all the way down to 980, and then we're gonna take the cap hit with so and so. It's gonna bring it down. So we got to figure out how we can manage this thing to where we keep our money at $1 billion, and it can't go up under this amount. They're not gonna win like that because these other companies like the Philadelphia Eagles, they ain't doing that because they're not. The general manager is not the owner, so the general manager is just like, hey, I got a credit card that I'm finna use, and I'm finna just use it. I'm not worried about what's happening 5 years from now. I'm not worried about contract. I'm not worried about the sales. Mm-hmm. The Joneses are like, we can't use this credit card because this credit card is our everything. We can't use it. We can't go down like that. If I was to just spend all this money, then, I mean, dang, I'm gonna be out. You know what I mean?
We've talked about it on one of our shows that we're not really sure they have all of this money that we thinking that they have. So I think we kind of seeing that, but at the end of the day,
you kind of look at what they worth, 10 billion. How much is the stadium worth by itself?
I don't know.
So it's up there. It's over $1 billion. So then you look at all the infrastructure they got. That's over $1 billion. So
yeah, I mean it's a unique thing with them. I don't think they're the same as the Crafts with New England, Jeffrey Lurie, even the Hunts with Kansas City. It's something that's different about what the Cowboys is doing because it just doesn't add up with the way that they've done this thing for 30 years, with the way they pay coaches.
I mean, just think about what if the Cowboys did this? What if the Cowboys said, what if the franchise owners, what they would never do? What if they said, you know what? The city of Dallas, y'all won the championship so bad, why don't y'all pay for it? What we're going to do is we're going to leverage off 25% of the company, 30% of the company to high stake buyers like huge million dollar business owners that are from Dallas, people that are from Dallas, born and raised, and then we're gonna leverage off the company $30% of it in stocks to y'all to where y'all can and that way when we spending the money for the team and for the coaches, it's y'all money that we spending, and y'all the ones that want to do it. Y'all the ones that want to win so bad. So if we spend y'all money, then we'll win because we can spend y'all money because it's not coming out of our pocket. It's coming out of y'all pocket. And we telling y'all it's coming out of y'all pocket. If y'all want to buy in, y'all can buy in. If not. It'll be so many business owners from Dallas that'll just be like, you know what? I'm gonna give this. We got to give our home city a championship. We finna spend we finna spend 100 million on this.
They're not doing it. That's why the stadium is in Arlington. But
Exactly.
yeah, I think you've seen some of these owners sell part of their franchise. Jeffrey Lurie did it, and I think the Giants did it also. So that's the one way that they could probably kind of change the game. But at the same time, man, we probably got it wrong. They probably got the money everywhere we're looking at. And Jerry's thing, let's wrap with this, who's been on a while. So Jerry's thing is still, he doesn't believe you have to pay coaches. He just doesn't believe that. So it's like what you and I were talking about the other night. We got to start facing two facts about this franchise in the front office. One, they're just not good at what they do. And then there are just some things they don't really want to do. Jerry just doesn't want to pay a coach. He doesn't believe that that's part of the equation. He just thinks that he can do it with Jason Garrett, with Wade Phillips. He's always thought that. So, but he has 30 years to show him that that's not the case. So let's go ahead and wrap, and we're gonna probably come in Sunday.
Yeah, we come in. So I'm gonna wrap with this. You mean to tell me that Jerry Jones trading Michael Parsons said that this was better for the team and that we could generate pressure with what we got, and then you mean to tell me that after he did that, we became the worst defensive team in the history of the football, in the history of the franchise, in the history of the league, and then also we became the worst pass rushing team in the league also. And you mean to tell me that we didn't make the playoffs because he did that and hired Eberflus, and then Micah tears his ACL. He goes to the Green Bay Packers out of all places and tears his ACL. That actually happened in real life.
Well, yeah, the second part of that just happened, but the first part, he absolutely believed that he could trade Micah and have a good pass rush. He absolutely believed he could trade Micah and make the playoffs, and he believed all of that, but he's not good at what he does. And they've done that repeatedly. They did the same thing with Amari Cooper. They were like, "No, fam, we can just trade you. We don't really need you here." You know, they could have easily, if they had just kept Amari Cooper, they would have ended up winning, making it to the NFC Championship game. Not maybe, just put Amari Cooper on this team up until the last year or so. You mean to tell me you don't get to the NFC Championship game?
You do.
He went to Cleveland and he was still playing, but here he would have been the number 2 receiver.
I mean, man, you mean to tell me that this dude, why did he go on national TV and slander David Mulligetta and Michael like that for no reason? Why did he lie on them and slander their names like that?
I mean, that's just part of what he does. I mean, that's not even connected to the bad thing that he's doing on the field. But yeah, that's just kind of like that's his thing. But it is what it is. So at the end of the day, you got 30 years, you're not winning, so you can go on and do all of that, but it's not really getting you anywhere. But let's go ahead and wrap on that.
All right, y'all. So we've been live for a little while now. So y'all make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. We're gonna wrap it up, and we're gonna be back Sunday. Do a post game show, last game of the season. Be
on Eberflus watch.
Apparently Dak is playing. I don't understand. Apparently he's playing. So it's all. I don't. You know what? So I'm not gonna even comment. So we'll see y'all on the next one. We'll be back on Sunday, and so. Everybody, appreciate y'all for coming out and spending Friday night with us. B-Bird, we're gonna get with you. My dad will get with you so we can figure out what we're gonna do. And then JBB boy, appreciate y'all for watching, man. And Hoodie, it's good to see y'all. And good to chop it up with y'all, man. So we appreciate y'all support. And so we'll talk to y'all on another one. We'll see y'all Sunday. Holla.
Have a good one.
All right, let me see something here. They didn't move everything.